so these are all cured now. I'm going to work on these today. You can see, let's see, it's all cured. I'll show you what the next step is from here. There's also this little guy. I found him, so I'll finish him off. My butterfly is in there, looking good. So the dogwood. There you go. I'll show you what's next. Hey, you guys. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be working on is these. And you can kind of see that the resin is hardened and it's clear resin, but you know, there's some texture to it. I'm going to show you how to do that in a later video, but what I really want to show you is this color red. So this red is kind of expensive and kind of hard to come by. You can kind of see it. Let's see if you can really see. But it's awesome. Let me see if I do that. It's awesome, and it's actually a real red, which is so hard to find. So I'm going to be using this today. And I might use a little gold color with it. If you can see, it's kind of a goldy green color. We'll see. But step one first is to pick my colors. So I'm definitely using this red. I'm gonna take this guy off. But before I do that, all of these flowers, you can see they have stems that I decided to not trim before. And some of them have petals that are over the mold. So I'm gonna trim all of that off because I don't want my resin to bubble up over the mold, because that will be a pain later. So I'm gonna work on that. And while I work on that, I'm gonna decide my final colors in addition to red for these, what else I'm gonna incorporate. And I will take you along. My scissors are sticking. I'm pretty sure I have resin stuck in them. Going through my red brush bin, because I like to use red for red. And I found a bunch of fun stuff. I found these Canadian flags. I'm gonna make dominoes out of these. And I also found these little guys, which are like little maple leaves. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with those yet, but I'm definitely gonna do something. I might even throw a few in here. We'll see. I found these little maple leaf molds. So I'm gonna make these right now with everything else that I'm making. So we're adding these to the list. And you see how red this is? I don't know if you can see. Even this looks kind of pinky. It's so hard to get a really good red. But anyway, I hope you can see. Start by just doing that. Just want to brush some inside. And sometimes, like, these are hearts. Maybe I'll just make the heart all red. You don't need very much. But the more you have on there, you really, honestly, you don't really need very much. This one I might add a little bit of color too. So we want mostly to be red. And then it's the same things with these. So these maple leaves, they don't have any resin in them yet, so I'm just gonna paint them red. And I'm probably gonna just paint the whole thing red for these guys. I'm gonna put him on top and show you what I'm doing. These will take a little bit more, but it'll be worth it, because then hopefully it'll pick up all of the resin and the detail in the leaves, or sorry, all the mica powder and the detail in the leaves at the same time. What you don't want is bubbles. So you gotta push it really good and make sure it's really stuck on there. And the least amount of like powder you have, the better. You want it really pushed in. You want it to adhere to your mold as much as you possibly can. And you also want to make sure you really get into all of those corners. Okay, I'm going to carry on doing this, and I'll see you guys later. Here is where we are at. Those are all painted in now. These I've painted in. I used a bunch of different colors. If you want me to tell you what colors I used, I can, but maybe not this time, because I don't keep track of that stuff. I just use whatever I think is gonna look good, and then I go with it. It's not, I don't have it like that planned out. But I could if you need me to. Oh, that guy needs to be brushed around a little bit more. And I'll show you. Thank goodness we're filming. I wouldn't have noticed, or maybe not. So I just take this and I just want to make sure the powder is spread out, and I don't want it to be super powdery, because the more powdery it is, the more the resin will have to like drip through it, and then the bubbles come. And they're fine, but there's still bubbles. So we want to smush in that powder as much as we possibly can. Is there any more over here to show you? Yeah, there's that. Alrighty. I just want to tell you my next step to the resin process is I'm going to mix up some black resin and some white resin, and those will be our backing for things I just showed you. So stay tuned. I'm going to work on that now, and I'm also going to work on where to look at, and I'll be back in a sec. I'm covered in glitter. It's so good. Hang on. Okay, so last time you remember we used the big measuring cup, but we only used a tiny bit of resin. This time, I'm going to use this size cup, but I'm going to pour black into this one and white into this one. And I'm going to keep some clear in this one for the butterfly, because I want the butterfly to have one more layer. I want to make sure that he's completely covered. Once you start introducing color or anything else, if this butterfly, whatever hasn't been covered, the color will go underneath it. Like the resin gets hot and runs everywhere. So I want to make extra sure that he's covered. And the wings also go translucent, so the butterflies take a little bit extra care. So if you keep watching these videos, you'll see the whole butterfly process. But in the meantime, we're just really focused on these guys today, these necklace pieces, which we're going to need the black and the white for, and whatever color remains, or whatever clear remains, I'm going to use in him. So you'll see. Right now, what am I going to do? I am going to mix, my resin that I'm using is 50% and 50%, so I'm going to mix up to number 4 with the hardener and up to number 8 with the resin, and it doesn't really matter which order you pour it in. One is thicker than the other, so sometimes I like to pour the thinner one first, and then it kind of helps just with mixing, but that's a really pretty fine detail. Anyway, I'm gonna mix it. Hang on. I highly recommend not picking it up and not moving it as much as possible, and that will minimize your bubbles. It's also a good idea to stir with your stir stick straight down and keep it kind of as pushed to the bottom as the cup as you can. This will also reduce your bubbles. They say you need to mix it for 3 minutes. I always like to mix mine for at least 5 minutes, depending on the type of resin as well. When we do a deep pour, you'll notice it's much thinner resin, which makes you feel like you don't have to mix it as much. And it's not true. You still have to mix it at least that much. I like to mix that one more too. If you don't mix your resin enough, what happens, or what can happen, is it doesn't cure properly. So it'll remain tacky, or it'll have sort of a gassy like appearance because the two combinations of resin haven't combined properly. So it's very important that you mix your resin, no matter really what type it is. And you also want to make sure you're scraping the sides. Now this measuring cup, I don't know if you can tell, but it has like a little indent in the side. So you really have to I push it. I push on both directions. I push the scoopy thing and I push the cup, because if anything is remaining in there, that'll be unmixed resin. And when you go to pour it in your piece, it'll mess it up and it won't be good. So you really want to make sure you get in those creases. And then also scrape your brush from time to time, or your, I don't know, mixer, spatula, whatever this thing is. Scrape it off and then scrape the edges. And a lot of the times you can see the resin as it's mixing in. It kind of goes cloudy at the beginning, and slowly over time, it turns just more and more clear. This is not the same for deep pour resin, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. This is not deep pour resin. This is art and craft resin, which is used for shallow projects, which this is. If you want me to go into the specifications of resin, let me know. But for now, I'm not going to do that because it's boring. And my hand's getting sore. You'll notice your hand gets sore. If your hand starts getting sore and you start getting sick of stirring, keep stirring a little longer. Once you're at that point, stir for an extra little bit just to make sure. I'm telling you, the mixing is almost as important as the bubbles. With resin, everything's important. If you mess up any step, the whole thing is ruined. And every step is such a lot of work that you don't really want to take any chances, because it's such a waste of everything. Time, energy, everything. So you can already see There are some bubbles, but not too many. This is actually really good. It's a warm day here. There's also a room temperature setting that you want your room to be at. It's like 20, I forget this exact. I'm not gonna go, again, not gonna go into detail unless you need me to. So right now, I'm gonna let the resin sit for a little bit, let the bubbles rise to the top. What I'm going to be using for color is, I'm gonna use this for my black. Now, I don't want the black to be, I hope you can see it. I don't know if it focuses. But anyway, I don't want my black to be solid. I want it to be a little bit, I want it to be a translucent black, not an opaque black. But my white, I want it to be opaque. So this is a paste. If you're working with resin, you want to work with a paste for opaque. And this is a resin dye. I don't think it's alcohol. It's like a cheapy resin dye. It might even be water-based, but like resin and water is a no-go, so I don't think it's alcohol, but maybe it is. It doesn't have the same reaction as my alcohol inks. This is the expensive brand of alcohol ink. So if you're doing anything like trying to create cells, this is what you need. This is not that. So, but this is what we're going to use today. Because we're just making a backing. It's not a big deal. Mostly you won't even see it anyway. Stay tuned, you guys. I'm also going to heat blast this resin and mix it a little bit more with the heat gun. And then I'll pour it off into the 2 separate measuring cups that I have here. And I'll show you where we're at. Okay, so you can see I've split them off into 3 different containers. There's still some bubbles in there, but I'm not too worried about that. I kept a lot more clear than I think I will need, but I'm worried I'm gonna run out of either the black or the white. So I don't mind that I have that extra clear. Plus I think I'm debating whether I should keep this one just all clear, because I want it to kind of look like water. So I'm not sure what I'll do there. Anyways, I've got my popsicle sticks. I like to reuse my stuff, even if it is a popsicle stick. So both of these have been used, which won't matter at all. For the black, I'm only gonna add 1 drop, because as I said, I don't want it to be, I want it to be somewhat translucent. So I'm gonna start stirring that in. With the colors, you've gotta stir it also until it's well incorporated. So, and you never quite know when that is. So I like to stir all my stuff for a really long time. And I noticed even after I had stopped filming, I was stirring. So I know I'm saying like 3 to 5 minutes, but I feel like I might stir my stuff for maybe 8 to 10 minutes. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I know that I get my stuff is usually very clear and well combined, and I don't get a lot of tackies. Like I never get them. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's what you have to do, because it's certainly not what the manufacturers and everybody else is saying what to do, but it's what's worked for me. Now, am I happy with this black? It's kind of hard to tell, especially when you're using used popsicle sticks, what color it is. They say you can tell by like pulling it like that and seeing it. I kind of use just my best judgment, and to me this is not black enough yet. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add 1 more drop. Now, depending on whatever coloring agent you're using, they're all different. So you kind of have to, like me telling you how many drops to use, like that won't apply unless you're using the same dye that I'm using. And even if you're using the same dye that I'm using, like brand-wise and color-wise and all that stuff, a lot of the times with resin stuff, it's got variants. Like the color and dyes themselves have variants. The resin itself has a variant. So you got to just accept that this is the kind of hobby that you're like two pieces will never be exactly the same. It just is what it is. You can do stuff to make it as close to the same, but it's kind of the beauty of it too. They'll never be exactly the same. Now it looks dark in the cup, but on the stick it doesn't look so clear, or it doesn't look so dark. So I do want it to be, I'm going to add one more drop. If I wanted it to be opaque, I would use a black paste. So if you're looking for an opaque black, you need to use something different. This dye, no matter how many times I put drops in, it's never going to make it opaque. So know that I'm just going for darkness. I'm not trying for it to be like opaque. Like I want to be able to see the light through it still. Somewhat anyway. So I think I'm happy now with that. I don't know if you can tell on camera how much darker it is. You probably can't tell. It probably looks like not that much darker at all. Probably looks like no change, but in real life it's a bit darker. So, and now we're gonna do the white. You gotta shake your stuff before you use it. And then this white is really annoying to get out of the container. Hopefully it'll cooperate today, but we'll see. Oh, it is. So I really want the white to be white, so I'm adding quite a bit. And the paste is really good. This is a good quality paste, so I probably don't need to add that much, but I don't like to take any chances, so I'm gonna add that much anyway, and we'll see how it goes. And so now we stir this around until it seems like it's combined. It's kind of like when you make a cake and you're trying to make all of the ingredients appear to be one. That's what you're going for. That's the look you're going for. And you can see that this is much more opaque. So, and it's already. I'm trying to judge if I want it to be even whiter than that. And honestly, I think at a certain point, I'm just wasting resin paste because it's not going to get, like, that's pretty white. And how white do I need it to be? I think this is probably good enough. So now I've got my black, my white, and my clear. And we'll see what the next steps are. I'm going to keep stirring this guy for a while. I might stir the black for a little while longer. And then we'll get ready to pour, and I'll show you. So also, before I go, I'll show you what the pour is like. But before I go, with this, just like with when you're mixing your main batch of resin, it's so important to scrape the sides and to scrape your stick. And your pigment sticks in, like you can see kind of that, like the resin paste is stuck on there. Okay, so if you work the sides enough, that'll keep coming off. But if you don't, like, see, I don't know if you can see on camera, but you're getting like extra white in there, which is now not mixed in. So you have to keep mixing it in. So at a certain point, you maybe want to stop scraping the sides, or else you'll never mix. And you also want to take note of the temperature of the resin while you're stirring it. If you feel like it's getting hot, you need to start moving quickly because your resin is curing on you. And if it's curing while you're working with it, it messes it up. So it's a fun little game of balance. Now we're gonna pour. I don't know how I'm gonna show you that, but you'll see. Hey you guys, so I'm about to pour, but my iPhone doesn't have enough storage. So I'm gonna have to finish this project. And hey you guys, so we left off and my iPhone messed up. So I had to go ahead and pour because resin, as I think I had just finished talking about, once you start, like, you have a limited time with resin. So once you mix it, it starts curing and you've got a limited time to work. So I went ahead and I poured the backs, and as you can see, I kept some of them translucent. I made some of them gray, and then I added a black paste. So this is the black sort of transparent one, and this is with black paste, and you can see the difference in how black they are. So I don't even know if it'll make a difference, to be honest. I don't know if you'll see through them or not. This is the whole thing with resin. You kind of don't really know how things are going to turn out until you demold. Now, I will tell you, I wanted to wear this necklace, so I demolded it and turned it into the necklace. It's been a couple days. I just didn't have time to film, and I had to get a backup thing for my phone in order to make space because I'm a brand new YouTuber. So I'm working out my technical difficulties. So I'll show you this one now. I love it. I love it so much. You can see kind of the purpley blue underneath. I love that this is a daisy that I grew on my lawn. And I've been wearing it now for a couple days. And see what I mean? When you pour the white, you can't really see the white, but what it does add is brightness. And you'll see the difference when I show you some of the black ones. So yay, I'm thrilled with this. And I'll show you the other ones I demolded because they were just all in the same, square mold. Like these are all in the same mold. So I just demolded all of them. But I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. That's that one. Got some gold and purple and orange. I think it turned out pretty good. So there's that one. Put it over here. Daisy with blue. This is that little Japanese maple leaf. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Maybe if I pull back, it'll focus. Now this one, though I really do like it, I wish I had just kept it white. I wish I had just kept the clear resin with the red maple leaf and added the white and left the red out of it. I still think it looks funky and cool, but if I can find another little maple leaf, I'm going to do it that way next time. Oh, I showed you that one already. Here's this one. Different shape, but same idea. And see what I mean? As you can barely see it. Now this one's got a black background, but I didn't want it to go dark. So this one is with a white background and this one's with a black, like a translucent background. And I don't know if you can tell, but it does sort of make a difference to, I guess, the tone. Here's this guy. He turned out pretty good. background. Oh, the dogwood. I love the dogwood. There we go. Here's the dogwood. I use sort of coppery in there. And this one's got a translucent black background, which I kind of like. You can kind of see through it. See, you can see my hand back there. There's this guy. Now this one has a big bubble in it, which is really disappointing, and a few other little bubbles, which means I didn't push the flower down enough, or I didn't pour enough. Like, it's pretty half and half, but I probably didn't push it down enough. So disappointing, yes, but I also think like it's still really pretty. So, you know, not that disappointing. I'll still wear it. A little buttercup. He turned out really good. What else? Here's this guy. Let's see. Now this one I need to sand. The other ones I'll sand and trim a little bit, but this one you can see it needs some major sanding. I don't know if this is going to show up nicely on camera. Let's see. I wanted it to look like waves. So for the background in this one, I poured a little bit of white and clear and kind of let the resin mix and mingle and do its thing. And it's also been brushed with multiple micas. So you can see there's like a dark blue and like a light teal kind of color, because I really want it to look like water. And I think it's kind of happened. Anyway, that's how that one turned out. So now it's got to be sanded. I might do like a little top coating on it. We'll see. There's way more work to be done on this guy, but I really like what's happening with it right now. And that's that. Those are the ones I've demolded. Oh, I also demolded the maple leaves. And these are gonna need some sanding because it's such a shallow mold. I had to pour over. And some of the little ones have some holes in them. So I don't know, this was somewhat experimental. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with those. I actually use them in like a painting that I do. So all is not lost. Here, let's demold these while we're here. You just pull it out. There we go. Like, I think these would make very cute little earrings. I just have to double check and make sure there's no gaps or bubbles, like air holes. And because of all the detailing, that's why we had to push our brush down so much. But you can see there's no residue left on the mold, right? And if there is, that's where an air bubble was, where we didn't push down hard enough. So it was also a brand new mold. I find that the molds, they kind of, I like them at their second and third use. Now, for these particular molds, I will say for my candles, the first use is always the best use. Like, even for brides and stuff, I would recommend, if I was doing a wedding, I would highly recommend spending the extra money on new molds, because a new mold for a candle holder or a wedding, like something that's so precious like that, it's worth the extra expense. Like, how great would that be as a cute little earring? All right, so those are that's that. And then I'm just gonna put you down right now and we'll get to the rest of these. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Okay, so I have hands free because you're on my chest right now. So let's start demolding. these are gonna be, okay, so this is the best I can do. Look how zoomed in we are. These are teeny tiny little earrings, and you need to believe me when I tell you they look way better in real life than they do on camera. But you'll see the rest that are a little bit bigger, and I'm hoping if the piece is a little bit bigger, the camera will have an easier time focusing on it. So, but hopefully you can kind of see. They look really good in real life. It's kind of a shame they're not working on camera as well. Okay, let's keep going. I've adjusted my light a little bit. Now these have all been kind of attached, so I just kind of pulled them all out and I go back after and I cut them and I sand them. Oh, yay. Okay. We can pull them apart. You can see how that turned out. Looks good. These are going to be earrings. Let's see if we can show you properly. There's some green in there and some purple and red. I love how these turned out. Very cool. That's such a neat technique. I think it's called like a ribbon technique. And basically it just looks like there's a piece of fabric in there. So these are going to be earrings, and you can kind of, it's easier, the newer the resin is, the easier it is to tear these apart. The older it is, it cures harder. Like it keeps curing over time. So you kind of want to do it while it's new if you can, because it'll be way easier. I hope this is showing up on camera. So these are going to be like little teardrop earrings. It can either be an earring or a little necklace, but they're tiny. Oh, he looks good. Kind of a rainbow color inside. And this one has a transparent or translucent background. Light shines through it, which makes for kind of a cool effect when it's against your skin. See the difference? I just find it's easier and you waste less resin if you don't just make one at a time, if you make a whole bunch at a time. And then you can have a whole bunch of necklaces that match, kind of, or at least are the same theme. So if you're selling at a market, everything kind of goes together, which makes your displays look good. Okay, so I'll just carry on. Oh, it's so cool. That one's got so much depth. And that's the whole point of this technique, is to create depth. It's a heart. I'm not going to show you all the trimming and everything. But basically, I go around. Oh, that looks so pretty. It's got purple. So basically, I go around and I trim them all. And then I turn them into necklaces and rings and just mostly different types of jewelry. They have sort of a marble effect, like marbles that you would play with as a kid. And that's all from first pouring in the clear resin, adding your texture layer, letting it cure with texture in it. These are all going to be earrings. See how tiny these are? These are like baby nail size. Little square earrings, some more little droplets, and then some more earrings here. And the last two like these, or I guess the last four like these. The last pair of earrings. Oh, I'm dropping everything everywhere. Yay. I'm really happy with every single one. I'm happy with how they all turned out. Let's take a look. Okay. I'm just going to go around. And show you how they all turned out. They look so good. I think that this is showing you better. Like, how great is that heart? So, and the neat thing about them is it gives really a 3D effect while you're like moving. So when you're wearing them, it really picks up on the different light. And then of course the flowers up here. Okay, so over to here. Let's keep it close like this and see if it works. Yay, there's a daisy with gold green background. With red. Some earrings. Like, how cute are those gonna be? We just either snap off the excess resin or I go around and I sand them down. Oh, that one has a bubble in it, but sometimes I think the bubbles, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this as a resin artist, but sometimes I like the bubbles. Sometimes they look okay to me. Oh, look at how cute is that? Two little hearts. What do you think, guys? Earrings or necklaces? And I'm definitely going to be covered in gold after this. Oh, those are so cute. Okay, what do we got next? That looks great too. I'm very happy. Yay, I love the daisies. See, and these just kind of pull off. This one. It's kind of a red-orange color. Some earrings. Oh, these are, you can barely see them in there. Now, I think I would do this differently if I had to do them again. They do look kind of cool still, but I would want this to show up more. So I think I would probably use a white background. I bet this has a black background. Yeah. So this would show up way more, and the colors would show way more if it had a white background. I mean, they still look really cool. They look really, especially in real life. And for earrings, they're pretty awesome, but that's what I think. I think it needs a white background. Check out these guys with the white background. See how it just sort of pops? 2 little hearts. These are going to be earrings. This is very blue, yellow. Some more buttercups with some, looks like gold. And look at this one has a, I thought I trimmed most of the petals. He must have been hiding, but it just snaps off. And then when I sand this down, it'll be really easy to make these. These guys that we filled up halfway and pop out of the mold are going to be so much less work than the ones that are attached. This is way more sanding. It'll be worth it, and I think they look awesome, but it's easier for your post-production time, if you want to say it that way, or your processing time. If you, the least amount of sanding you have, the better. Plus, it's no fun. This is all the fun bit. The sanding stuff is, I mean, it's still kind of fun, but it's not as fun. And then, of course, making it into a piece of jewelry is, of course, fun. All right, we're almost there. We've got 2 more left to go, and that is the end of my first resin video, you guys. Oh, he looks pretty neat. There's still a little bubble. These were very, like, dried like that. I still like it. I don't care that it has a bubble. And this one. It's kind of not a fun one to end on. Let's end on my amazing necklace that I love so much. Here. Let's end on this. I've been wearing this for a few days now. And we also have this cool thing. Pull him out. This was the other side of this mold, and I just kind of used it to see how it would be. All the different layers. Anyway, my new favorite necklace. Right here. Thanks for watching, you guys. This has been Reality in Resin with that lady Heather. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like my channel. Give me any ideas of projects you would like me to work on or anything you want to see. Tell me what you think of this. Tell me if you want more instruction and technical information. And just subscribe to my channel. That'd be amazing. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and mostly thanks for watching. Next time I'll try and have more memory, and then we can, I can film you right from beginning to end. Hopefully. See how it goes. Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye. I need a manicure. Ooh, I'm so glittery. Yeah.